Yeah.
So yeah, that works for me.
All right. Yeah. I guess then.
Gonna slander and libel John Jones, some, and then wherever we go from there.
Okay. Well, I guess we might as well start then.
You ready?
All right. Yeah, I'm ready.
And 5, 4, 3, 2.
Well, hey there, motherfucker. I'm not supposed to cuss. Fuck.
Now you can cuss if you want. I'll add 7 seconds of music to the start. Don't worry
Oh,
about it.
good then. Well, hey there, motherfucker. How you doing, guys? This is Lazy Bed, aka some situations Lazy Bread, as I've been known to be in certain chat rooms. Fuck that guy. But yeah, this Lazy Bed here. I am with my boys, DangerMouse, and today we are featuring a special guest. It is our guy Dave. Dave is filling in for No Special as he continues to make his transition to a new humble abode for he and his family. Yeah, so it's the three of us. It's me, Lazy. It's Danger Mouse. It's Dave, and this is the Sunday Night Scuffle, where we sit around and we bullshit about a couple of topics that might be sitting and sticking in our craw, or they could just be something we pull out of our ass. Who knows? But today it's a pretty clear cut Sunday Night Scuffle. It's a pretty obvious topic that we must discuss and get into. And of course, I am referencing the retirement of some people's GOAT, John Jones, and the subsequent full on undisputed crowning of one Tom Aspinall. Guys, it's been a long time coming. Jones has, of course, had his transgressions all throughout the last couple of years. He's held up the division. He's held up Tom. He's held up us as fans. Hell, he's probably fucking held up the product for ESPN even. Everyone's kind of suffered at the hands of John Jones. But now, as far as we know, it is all over. John is done. John is retired, and this long headache that we've been dealing with has finally come to a finish. So, guys, what do we think? Just general chat. John Jones retired. Tom Aspinall undisputed champ. What do you think?
Do you want to go first, Dave, or do you want me to go?
I'll go. I think it's good for the sport. Like I said on the roundup, it's just been a colossal waste of time since, at least since Jones versus Stipe, if not before then. Um, I'm happy to finally see the division move forward. I was kind of hoping they'd fight. I didn't really take one side about whether or not they would. Like I didn't. I hope they would, but I didn't care a whole lot. So it's nice to see the division move forward. I feel like Tom has been the rightful champ for a while. Dana said he's going to take care of him. We'll see how that plays out, but it's good to see. I got some conspiracies, but I think I've probably covered enough of that on the roundup. Shout out Pat Miletich.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, some pretty interesting stuff. Who is it? There's two different sides to it. Some people are saying that Trump launched the fucking war against Iran to cover up the Jones retirement and arrest, and then other people are saying that Jones retired to cover up Trump attacking Iran. So depending on how you want to view it. Yeah, Dangerous. What do you think, man? It's your guy Tommy. He's finally the undisputed.
Yeah, finally. Well, he's been for a long time. Everyone's known it. It just hasn't
Yeah,
been official. Uh, the thing that annoys me is John could have, if John had, after he beat Stipe, the fight that no one really wanted, but if he'd done it, if he beat that all-time heavyweight, it's great of Stipe Miocic, and then afterwards he'd have stood in the cage and he'd just said, "All right, I've done it. I've got a second belt at a new weight division. I've defended it. I beat Stipe. It was one of the greats at heavyweight. I think it's time for me to retire. I want to step away from the sport and do something else." And then he'd said, invited Tom Aspinall into the cage, and he put the belt down and said, "That's it, I'm done." Put the belt down, put the gloves down at the same time, giving Tom Aspinall a slap on the back and said, "I wish you good luck in your future. and he'd walked away. That would have been an epic ending for John Jones. Instead, what has he done? He's strung it out, trolling, and all he's done is damage his reputation. I didn't have much regard for his heavyweight reign as it was, but he's just tarnished it beyond reproach. Now it's just a mess, and he's damaged his reputation as far as I'm concerned. Now in the future, people will. And he walked out that interview recently where he heard Tom's name mentioned. Imagine what it's going to be like for him in the future. Why didn't you fight Tom? Why did you walk away? And in the meantime, Tom Aspinall, all he has to do, I told you I'd retire him without fighting him, and his prophecy came true. So yeah, congratulations to the new, fully deserved heavyweight champion of the world, who will undoubtedly be bringing me 55 and hopefully 110 points in the draft later this year. Yeah, great news.
Yeah, it's. I mean, even I would have never thought that this would be the way that John Jones's career ends. Like, literally, like a brief 60-second blurb from Dana White in a post-fight press conference in Baku, Azerbaijan of all places. Like, no fanfare, no hoopla, no speech, other than his, as we covered, ChatGPT Twitter post, but no, nothing. Just basically goes out with a whimper.
I wonder. Sorry,
ahead.
I wonder if Dana might still give him a send off at International Fight Week, and I wonder if that's why it's been done.
And I wonder if that's kind of in jeopardy now with the current legal situation he's going through.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, could be. I
So,
won't cry either way.
Another interesting thing about this is I did hear actually from Dana today. He was at what's that thing called, Fanatics Fest or Fan Fest or something like that. Big thing going on where they held the press conference for Canelo versus Terrence Crawford today that Dana's promoting for Turkey. But he said he spoke with the media briefly, and of course they asked him about this whole John situation, and he said that, as was reported by many people, Ariel Helwani included, they offered him, the amount of money that he asked for. They, from what sources they gathered this money, they're not divulging, but they gathered the money that he asked for. They offered it to him, and he still turned it down. But the fight was booked for MSG, so it was going to go down in November. That's what the speculation everybody had was true. Like that was the plan that they had all along. And yeah, man, so much for that. But I think ultimately we as a fan base are all pretty happy to kind of have this rid this problem from our systems and have John out of our hair, hopefully once and for all.
Yeah. Well, we said this on the weekend roundup, but to be fair, if Tom racks up 6-7 defenses and John wants to come back, now he's got a bit of information on him. He might have 15 minutes by then. He can come back and have a go. But until then, we know the full truth, because it was always doubted whether John had ducked Francis, whether he was just taking time out, and then of course Francis left. Gan became champion. Who can't wrestle, and then immediately John appeared, took Gan out, and we know the rest of it from there. I don't have to go through it again. So yeah, he ducked Francis, you ducked Tom. Your reputation is tarnished. End of story.
I just thought of this while you were talking, and I'm gonna post this to Dave, who might have some insight from a past live of his. Why do you think it is that John keeps getting away with committing these crimes down there in Albuquerque? Like, does the police department not have enough information, and does he not have a bad enough rap for the hammer to finally come down on him? What's going on here? Why are these police in Albuquerque failing to, do their jobs?
I don't know. I think he's been arrested before almost every time that he's acted up in Albuquerque. I was reading the police reports from this latest incident, and it looked like, as far as Jones' involvement in the situation, he might still get charged. I don't know. But per the police report, it's kind of a he said, she said type thing. And Jones wasn't at the scene. They think he was at the scene. the person at the scene called or she called the person that she claimed was Jones, and they talked to her and the police officer. And the person on the phone was threatening and acting like John Jones and talking and sounding like John Jones. But they said they didn't say who they were or not John Jones or something like that. And so this could go forward and he might get charged. But for the most case, I don't think they have like anything on him to really charge him because he wasn't there. And it would just be like her word against his in a court of law. And she was high and on mushrooms at the time too. So in the court, her her testimony is probably not going to stand up to any confident lawyer, just because unfortunately that's kind of, I don't know, some of those laws have changed recently due to stuff that's happened at collegiate levels, but I think if you're knowingly under mushrooms and stuff, you're going to have a hard time getting your testimony taken seriously.
Yeah. So honestly, this is probably going to be another situation where John's most likely going to get off scot-free for the most part. Like, it's a little stain on his reputation, but what's that to John Jones, who's, shit all over his reputation for years. It is funny, though, that this is all basically happening nearly 10 years to the date of the last time this all went down, when he had a similar situation to this, because I believe the last one happened back in 2015, if I'm recalling what I read correctly. And yeah, I don't know, man. But let's talk a little bit.
Did you read any of the details of the case? Like, the lady was like half nude or something, and talking crazy with the cops, and I think they were both. I think they were both tripping. He was in the car; they were tripping balls. Probably.
Yep.
There might have been a DV incident going on, but either way, they were out causing shit, and he crashed and he bolted.
Yep.
Yep. Well, he's got form, so why not?
And I think he was close enough to home to get home before anyone figured out what was going on, and that way he had his plausible deniability. But yeah, I think.
Well, what's Jones great at? Running.
Yeah,
That's
what I want to know. What I want to know is where are the rest of her clothes at? Because if they're at John Jones' house, then
yeah, they're at his house. I think it might not even be debated that she was at his house or not. Yeah. Okay. And I think their living situation allows for Jones to be a upstanding human being that he is.
But if you think about it, if she had to flee the house not wearing any underwear, that doesn't look good on John either.
Well, she was claiming that John was driving.
Yeah. Like she stayed at the car, and
John fled the scene.
Yeah, and the phone call is weird. That's like so John Jones. Like, no, this isn't John Jones, but I'll beat you up. Like, I can beat both of you. He's just like talking about how he can kill him with the bare hands or like something. Like, he was tripping. That's Jones.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit though about the other party in this matter, Tom, because he's been sitting out for quite some time now, and he hasn't had the most cage time while he's been in there. So it's likely that this first fight back is this going to be the first time we see Tom Aspinall with a little bit of cage rust, and maybe he's got to find his groove a little bit. Does Tom Aspinall get out of the first round in his next fight?
You want me to go on this one?
Yeah, Mouse. What do you think?
Tom Aspinall for the last year or whatever the hell it has been since since John refused to fight him, has been in the gym 5 days, 6 days a week. He's been in there with Rico Verhoeven, who just defended his heavyweight kickboxing world championship for the God knows, I think he's like 3,000 days or something stupid that he's held that belt. Tom's been training with all the high-level guys, all those guys now at his father's gym, Team Aspinall, I've been calling it. We've got all these high-level guys coming in, and they're wanting to train, and they're wanting to sharpen up for fights. And guess who's there? The best heavyweight in the world who's not had a fight. So he's in there with those guys. Obviously, he's not trying to knock those guys out or do anything stupid, but Tom wouldn't do that anyway when he's training. That's not the way he trains. He knows full well that you the weight class he trains at, you don't want to start knocking people out. It happens, but you don't want to do it by any means deliberately. So yeah, Tom's in the groove. He's been dying to get going. I doubt very much ring rust is going to play a part because let's face it, when your average fight time is 2 minutes, how much ring rust can you develop from the last time you fought?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been a year since you last fought for a minute. Okay. Yeah, I don't really see any worries for Tom in this at all. I think the only question is who's he going to fight. I know he said he said it's really difficult to train for multiple opponents. I've seen Almeida and Volkov both mentioned, which we obviously he's beat Volkov before. Almeida's a new string to it, would be a new name on his resume. Gan is obviously a heavy favourite, but we did just hear Curtis Blades called him out. Personally, I don't think Gan deserves it. It would just be another easy title shot for the fucking Frenchman. I would like to see him fight Almeida for a shot at it. But the problem then is, who the fuck does Tom fight next? So yeah, I don't really care who he fights next. I think he's going to go in there. He's going to dispatch him in his usual under a round mark, and then he's going to say, "I want to fight again. Get me a fight at Madison Square Gardens." And I'm just going to stand there and fight and laugh at John Jones.
Yeah, all right. Well, Dave, not who do you think deserves it, but who do you want to see Tom Aspinall fight? Like who do you just think would be the funnest fight? Tom versus who?
Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, that fight's came up in the news again a couple of times recently. Again, it was floated before Polshan lost to Ankalev, but it came up a couple of times recently. Maybe just because Alex weighed in at was weighing like 240, but I think he said he's concentrating on Ank, so I don't think that's a realistic fight. But if I had my say, that's the fight that I'd go with.
Mm-hmm. I think it was maybe it was Casey from MMA Fighting, but somebody was saying that that's definitely the fight to make. And if you're the UFC, you better be throwing a pile of fucking money at Poetan's feet, saying, "Hey, we need you to fight Tom, and we need you to fight him soon. Like, save
I
this
don't care.
fucking division."
Yeah, I don't care about Almeida getting a title shot and Shogun. Like most of the heavyweights, I don't really care about the division that much. And it's like, I think would do mostly like what Mousetti does. I think maybe Ghana could stretch him out to kind of a boring, or not a boring, but a longer fight, just because could be elusive and retreat a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
I could see.
Yeah, I don't like any matchups for Tom, but he beats everyone. But looking at the current roster, all right.
I could see Tom deliberately taking Dan down just to give a fuck you to John yet again on that one.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
The Poetan fight would be fun. That again would be yet another fuck you to John Jones. So yeah, I'd love to see that one as well. I don't think we will see that one, as you said. He's focusing on Ankalaev and getting his belt back. But yeah, maybe in the future.
Well, I had a brain fart. The obvious answer is Francis because he's a free agent and Dana doesn't want to do business, but he sounds a tiny bit more open than he used to. So the obvious answer would be Francis to come back and get them petrol fists.
I would of course love to see Tom versus Francis, but I think that there's a higher likelihood that we see Poetan versus Tom than we do Francis coming back. I don't see Dana being the type to squash that sort of pettiness that he has inside of him.
Not a chance.
But either way, I mean, I'm just glad to see that we're gonna finally have some movement in the heavyweight division, and I really don't care who it is because at this point, meritocracy's out the window at heavyweight. Like that's of all the divisions, like let's just get this thing moving with some big fun fights and get that title fucking on the line. I want to see Tom Aspinall often.
Yeah, I think barring injury, we're going to see Tom Aspinall 5 times before the end of 2026. But also a quick one because I think this came up in maybe Luke Thomas's live chat, and it was how does Tom do against a prime Francis? And I personally think he beats Francis any way he wants to, because Prime Francis couldn't wrestle. But even today, I think Tom's too much for Francis. He's too fast. Francis is getting old now. He might be tough, but he still can't wrestle that well, I don't think, and he's too slow.
Yeah. I think that current Francis almost definitely loses to Tom, and I think that Prime Francis, like you said, Prime Francis was not a very good wrestler, so he would have had the risk of dropping one of them nuclear bombs on Tom's chin if they stayed on the feet. But Tom is not an idiot. Yeah, Tom's not a moron. He would have taken Francis down and probably submitted him.
Well, don't forget, Sergey clipped him. He knocked his mouthpiece out. So Tom can take a punch. Don't deny that he can't do that. I do wonder how Tom would do against all the kind of prime greats, like Prime Stipe and anyone else you want to mention. Obviously, I'm a huge Tom stan, so I'm just going to say, fuck you, he beats them all. But if anyone wants to suggest anyone that might have been able to beat Tom, feel free.
The problem you run into with Tom, though, is it's like you brought up. It's that short fight time, because you can argue either side of the equation. You could say Tom would beat them all, and that that's evidenced by his short fight time. Like, look how he's dispatching these guys. Or you could say, well, I can't really judge and say who he would beat because I don't know enough about Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, you can look at Ankalaev, who pushed him the furthest. He took him into the second round, but obviously Tom was much younger then as well, in terms of fight age, if you like.
Arlovsky, you mean Arlovsky?
Oh yeah, I don't know who I said then. Yeah, Arlovsky.
Yeah, you said Ankalaev. That would have been something.
Ankalaev. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, thank you for dead wronging me before Chatri. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, you got some more?
No, I was just saying it would be interesting to see if some of those greats could have taken him further into those deep waters, as John Jones should have tried to do, but we've already gone over that.
That's a good topic for. I would present that to our guy Gaff over at One More Round Fights, because he's been doing fantasy simulations on the UFC 5 game. So you might be able to get to see Tom Aspinall versus some of those all-time greats. Hey, shout out.
Good one. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, listeners, bleeders, we're now going to transition this here Sunday Night Scuffle from Tom and John talk to a little bit of UFC 317 talk. And we're going to actually preview the main card of International Fight Week. We're going to give you guys some predictions, non-legally binding, of course. This is just completely off the top of our heads. No studying, no fucking background paperwork going into this at all. This is just freestyle. So, dudes, let's talk a little bit of IFW. And like I said, we're going to do main card. So we're going to start with this main card opener. This was supposed to be, who was it? Somebody got scrapped. Oh, yeah, Paulo Costa and Roman Kopylov, who now will face each other on the upcoming New Orleans card with Max and Dustin Poirier. But taking their place is JBR fantasy draft selection of myself, LazyBed, Peyton Talbot making his return to face off against a tough opponent here in Felipe Lima. Peyton Talbot, of course, now 9-1. Felipe Lima, 14-1. This is a bantamweight scrap. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a fun one. And it should be a nice tone setter and pace setter for the main card here of the pay-per-view. Which one of you guys wants to go first on your prediction for Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima?
I'll go. I'll go with Felipe Lima. I think Peyton Talbot, I normally would have went with him. I thought he was like a killer, and it just looked amazing, but he really got kind of exposed in this last fight. And I think if he hit the ground stone and really trained hard and stuff, he might have learned from that and gotten much better and had a good chance here. But I fear he's been kind of spending a lot of time with Frank Ocean and kind of being leisurely and just enjoying life and not training so hard. So, this other kid's an absolute killer, so I'm going with him.
Yeah, he is a fucking killer, and that's the UFC's not doing Peyton Talbot any favors here. So whatever, Dana White privilege he was getting prior to this is completely out the window, because Dude, this opponent ain't no fucking joke. Lima is a tough fucking customer. So, anyways, Danger Mouse, what do you think? Peyton Talbot making his first return off of his first career loss as a pro, taking on a tough Brazilian here. Who do you think takes it?
Well, I'm just looking at Wikipedia here, and Felipe Lima doesn't even have a wiki page, which is
Ooh,
normally a very good reason to not pick a fighter. But in this one, Felipe Lima, I believe he's 14-1
he is.
compared to Peyton Talbot's 9-1. But the guy he lost to, as Dave just said there, Ronnie Barcelos, really, really experienced fighter. We have Felipe Lima. He's got more fights. He's a little bit older. He's 32, which is kind of normally in your prime, if I remember if I'm getting my stats right. Obviously, a little bit older at bantamweight. Maybe that's not quite so good, but I still think those extra few fights are going to edge it for Felipe Lima for me. And I'm hoping that you're going to take 5 full points from this fucking fight, Lazy.
Well, I got a dead wrong again because according to Tapology here, it's showing me Felipe Lima, 27 years old.
Oh shit! I might be thinking of the wrong fight.
But either way, yeah.
He's still older than Peyton Talbot, though, isn't he? So.
No, he's younger. Or yeah, no, he's older by 1 year. By 1 year, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Like I said, they're not doing old Peyton Talbot any favors here. I think, regardless of if he wins or if he loses this fight, I think this is going to be a tough fought fight. I think that both guys are going to have their moments. Lima, he's a kind of a throw caution to the wind fighter a little bit, so he does run the risk of getting clipped, and that is sort of Peyton Talbot's game. But part of that throwing caution to the wind for Lima means that he's probably going to lay paws on Peyton Talbot a few times. So I think that, both guys are probably going to walk out of this fight a little bit banged up. Peyton Talbot might not be vaping out of his butt anytime soon. He might not be feeling that bendy. But yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I've just looked at the card and I've realised who I'm talking about with the age difference. Different fight. I know what I'm talking about now.
But yeah, Felipe Lima. The thing that's giving me, I want to pick Peyton Talbot just outright because he's my draft selection here. But the thing that's giving me hesitation is Lima's another Brazilian, and he does have some submissions on his record, and quite recently. So I fear that the grappling may be an issue yet again for Talbot. But yeah, I can't go against my own draft pick, so I'm probably going to take Peyton Talbot. And I think if he gets it done, he's probably going to put him away. So Peyton Talbot, maybe late round stoppage. All right. We're going to move it on now to the next fight on the main card, and it is a lightweight affair. Two guys well known by fans. One of them a fan favorite, the other one kind of a fan laughing stock. People like to make jokes at his expense. And that man is Beneil Dariush, the man that looks like he's 57 years old, and I think he's like 31 or 32. Oh, no, he's 36. What the fuck am I talking about? But nevertheless, Beneil Dariush taking on Renato Moicano. Beneil Dariush 22-6-1. Renato Moicano 26-1. I think Moicano coming off of a loss, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is. The loss to Islam Makhachev when he was Darce choked. And Beneil Dariush, I believe, also been finished in a couple of his most recent bouts. Yes, indeed. Arman Sarukian and Charles Oliveira. So two guys coming off of losses here, but two guys with names in the division, stalwarts and staples of 155. I think Dave went first on the last one, so Danger Mouse, we're going to go to you. Who gets it done? Money Moicano and Beneil Dariush.
This one's an easy choice. Well, yeah, an easy choice for me. I'm going to go with Renato Moicano. There's no real age difference between these two guys, despite Dariush's hair. As you said, he looks a lot older, but I think he might even be younger on this one. But it's only a few months difference between the two guys. Moicano coming off the loss to Islam, which is no shame whatsoever. He stepped in at the very last minute, and of course, Islam agreed to fight him because that's what real champions do. So yeah, I think Moicano's going to get a knockout in this one. Dariush has had about 5 or 6 losses by KO. I think they make up the vast majority of his losses. So I think we're going to see a fairly cagey first round while they scope each other out, and then Moicano is going to lay hands on Beneil Dariush and knock him out. So yeah, that's my prediction. Second round KO, if you want to be really, really specific, which I rarely am these days, but I have to be on Tapology.
I was gonna say that sounds like a Tapology pick.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. Yeah, I just took a glance at it, and Beneil Dariush, what is he? He is 16-6-1 in the UFC. Manny Moicano, 12-6 in the UFC. Who do you think pulls this one out between a couple of 36-year-old dudes?
I think this is a pretty easy win for old man Dariush, and being an old man myself. I mean, they might be the same age, but he's got the silver hair thing going. I'm old, so I mean, Dariush has always been at a higher tier of fighter skill level than Moicano. Moicano normally gets to that level and always kind of like fails. He's been losing, or a lot of Moicano's recent wins has been coming by takedowns and top control wrestling, and that's not going to work with Dariush at all. And so I expect Dariush to probably decision him and maybe be some kind of weird striking match with clinch, lots of fighting, like clinch along the fence for some reason. And Dariush has been a higher tier fighter, like I said, and without Moicano maintaining a dominant wrestling advantage, I just don't see him getting it done. So, Dariush.
Yeah, those are some good points. I actually like both your points there. I got to play tiebreaker here, though. I mean, like I said, both guys coming off losses. Beneil, of course, 2 in a row, and both of them KO TKOs. So a little bit of questions with the durability, but you could say the same on the Moicano side. Like, I mean, the guy's shown frailty in not only his chin at points, but also just his general bones. I mean, fighting with broken collarbones, things of that nature. But I think you're kind of right there, Dave. I don't think that Moicano's necessarily going to finish Dariush with strikes. I don't see that happening per se. I think if he's going to get it done, it's going to be through grappling. And I don't know if he's better than Beneil in the grappling department. And I think that this is also going to be kind of a much needed bounce back fight for Beneil against somebody who's not a young, hungry killer. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go Beneil Dariush, but I think I'll probably go by decision just to be different. So give me Benny D. All right, and next up, the featured bout of the main card for UFC 317. The short notice fill-in and also JBR fantasy draftee selection of our very own No Special is Joshua Van taking on Brandon Royval in the flyweight division. Brandon Royval sitting at 17-7 in his career. Joshua Van 14-2. Also, Brandon Royval, a nice, beautiful #1 ranking in the flyweight division, putting that on the line against against Joshua Van's number 11 ranking. Yeah, this is a really big step up for Joshua Van on very short notice. Of course, Raw Dog, one of the most tenured flyweights in the UFC. He's fought the who's who, and his only losses in the UFC have come to some of the best. Joshua Van put away by Charles Energy Johnson just a few fights ago, but has been on a recent tear, just murking guys with his boxing. Beautiful body shots, blistering fast hands. Also a inductee to the Fury FC Hall of Fame at his fucking young age of 24 years old. So yeah, Brandon Royval obviously was slated coming into this one to take on a different opponent, and that opponent was, hang on a second, Manel Kopp. So yeah, he was training for a primarily stand-up based fighter with fast hands, not too dissimilar from Joshua Van. Super Dave, we're gonna kick it over to you first. Who do you think wins this ranked flyweight affair?
I think Royval is going to get it done. It's too bad. I really like Josh Van. He's a fun fighter. I think he's like already landed like the most significant strikes in the division or the most per fighter. He has some kind of striking stat that's really high or a record. And, if it was a 5-round fight, I might actually lean towards him because I think Royval is a bit too much too soon and a little bit too crafty. But in like a longer fight, Van's good enough where he might be able to adapt and overcome and learn and adjust. But 3-round fight, I got to favor the experience of Royval. They're similar fighters. Royval's got much better experience against higher level competition. Royval decision.
Yeah, I think that's probably what a lot of people are thinking. Actually, according to Tapology, the odds are near even. Brandon Royval, a very small -120 favorite. Joshua Van +100 near even. So, which is crazy to fucking say when you think about the people that Brandon Royval has fought. I'll go in the middle here just to shake it up. I think that Brandon Royval clearly should win. He very obviously should win. He's come like inches from winning the flyweight title. Fights against Pantoja, fights against Brandon Moreno. Just been in some absolute fucking wars. Been in some scraps with the best names in the division. Recent wins over not only stalwarts like I was just naming, but also youngsters, young up and comers like Tetsuro Taira. So I mean, the guy's done it all, but Josh Van, man, like he's on a fucking streak that you can't ignore. The problem is he being too active? Is he chasing this fucking hot streak he's on too much? This is literally a coin flip. Fuck. I hate to do it, but I'm gonna go with Austin's draft pick here. I'm picking Joshua Van. Give me Joshua Van. Decision. Josh Van decision. Danger Mouse, what do you think?
Yeah, I have very similar thoughts to Dave on this one. Raw Dog is the older fighter. This is the fight I was thinking of where someone was 32 and the other guy was younger because Royval is 32 years old. And of course, Joshua Van is 23 years, 8 months, 2 weeks, 4 days. Shorter fighter also with about a 4.5 inch reach disadvantage over under Royval. Yeah, I think that Royval's experience is going to be key in this one. I don't think he's going to destroy Van by any means because Van is obviously very dangerous. And I'm just looking at his topology page and I noticed he comes from Myanmar, which in my mind is most famous for that famous meme of the woman doing the aerobics dance as Myanmar is the coup is going on in the background. That's my favorite moment from that country. You must know the one. So I think Van's going to get it. Sorry, I think Raw Dog is going to get this one done. It's going to be a decision over 3 rounds. I'm guessing this one is. Yeah. Sorry, Austin. 5 points coming your way. You can join Lazy. both of you motherfuckers getting 5 points on this card.
I'm happy to be the lone dissenter. Joshua Van's fucking awesome. Like, even if he loses, I'm happy to support him. He's a fucking cool dude. So.
Oh, he's cool. He's great. He's a fantastic fighter. I just think he's been jumped up the ladder too early.
Yeah, I love Josh Van. I just don't think he's going to win this fight.
It's tough. Speaking of tough and speaking of flyweights, we move now to the co-main event of the evening and the first of 2 title fights. And it is going to be actually a rematch. And it's, is this also one of Austin's draft picks? I think it is. Alexandre Pantoja, the flyweight champion, defending his title against Kai Kara-France, New Zealand's own. 29-5 for Pantoja, going up against Kai Kara-France's 25-11. Kai Kara-France, of course, 32 years of age, one of the smaller flyweights in the division, true flyweight, 5'4" tall. He is sitting on a current 1-fight win streak. I believe that was a finish also. And Pantoja, 5'5", so not the biggest flyweight himself either, but he is on a 7-fight win streak. Most of those being title defenses, the most recent being over Kai Asakura back in December. Yeah, this one's going to be probably a pretty fun fight for however long it lasts. could potentially see a finish coming out of either guy in this fight. These are two of the more deadly and more venomous flyweights that fight in the 125-pound division. So yeah, let's look at the odds. Kai Kara France looking to be a plus 210 moderate underdog, and Pantoja a minus 270 moderate favorite. I think Dave went first on the last one, so DangerMouse, I believe you are up. Who wins this UFC Flyweight Championship co-main event?
Okay, this is the easiest choice on the card for me to make. Well, arguably the equal easiest choice for me to make. And it might not be the one that you think with me saying that, because I am going to go for Alexandre Pantoja on this one. I do like Kai Kara France. This hopefully will be a very dull result for Pantoja. I hope he lays on top of Kai Kara France for the entire 5 rounds and just dulls it out and keeps hold of the belt, limits Austin to the whatever points he gets for a win and a title defense. But unfortunately, I chose Alexandre Pantoja to be champion at the end of the year, so I have to cheer for him here. It's on my my MK Discord picks for the champion at the end of the year. So yeah, there you go, Alexandre Pantoja. And I'm kind of joking. Obviously, if it's a fun fight, that would be fantastic. But yeah, I won't cry if it's a dull fight and Pantoja wins.
All right, Dave. Dave, what do you think? Alex Panson here, obviously on a real hot streak. One of the more criminally underrated guys in the UFC, as most flyweights and smaller guys tend to be. But taking on a guy here in KKF who really crack, he can put guys away. All it takes is one touch from Don't Blink. So, who do you think takes this flyweight title fight?
This is also my second easiest pick of the night, and I just have to say, Kiwi, 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 oi, oi, oi. It's gonna be Kai Kara France, man. He can crack. Pantoja, he's 35 years old. He's gonna fall off one of these times. I've been picking against him for the last 4 or 5 fights, so I'm gonna keep riding that train. Someone's gonna do it. Let's go, Kai Kara France.
For me, I want to pick Kai because I've loved Kai since his time on Tough. Like, he was knocking dudes out all the way back then, and he's a fun guy to root for because he's quite often the smaller guy in the equation. He looks like he's 12 years old with the baby face, and just he's easy
He's
to
an
root for.
albino Maori. Like, what don't you love about that?
He's so much fun. Like, and he embodies that Maori spirit. Like, he's just a marauder through and through. But I think he has a very clear, very obvious, huge gaping hole in his game, and it's the ground game. And I think that Alexandre Pantoja, or Alex Pants, he's going to pull down those pants and he's going to plug and fill that huge gaping hole. And I think that he's probably going to put KKF away. I think he's probably going to submit him. I'll say Pantoja submit. Well, he'll play it safe in the first round or two, but I say Pantoja submission round 3. All right, and that leaves but just one fight left to discuss, one fight left to go over, one fight left to make predictions on. And it's a fight that features another small little itty bitty man, except he's not a flyweight. He is now a lightweight, and his name's Ilya Topuria, and he'll be taking on Charles Oliveira. Of course, Charles Oliveira, a former lightweight champion already, 35-10 record overall. And also the holder of the UFC's submission record, the most submissions in the UFC history. Very, very, very deadly submission artist. And in recent years has proven to be quite the striker as well. This is the man that Justin Gaethje said hit him harder than anyone's ever hit him before. Ilya Topuria, on the other hand, a perfect, spotless 16-0 record, undefeated, Luke Thomas's favorite fighter to glaze. Yeah, just a slaughterer of men, killing all of our favorite fighters, just coming in and ripping all their heads off and killing our hopes and dreams. And he's looking to do it once again against Charles Oliveira and to become a 2-division champion. Of course, not simultaneously, but yeah, looking to win that vacant lightweight strap. So, Dave, I believe we got to go to you first. Ilya Topuria putting that O on the line. It's been a bad year for undefeated fighters. Does he keep the O against Charlie Olives, or does Charlie Olives pull this one out of his ass?
Well, this one is kind of tough for me because in the battle for my heart and who I think is a good human being, and Charles wins that fight 10 times out of 10. But unfortunately, this is my easiest pick of the night. And anytime Charles faces someone that can crack like a hammer of the month and not afraid to jump in his guard, he's going to lose that fight. And Ilya is just that. He can crack like a freaking Ford Escort, and he's not afraid to jump in his guard. And it's going to be a tough, short night for my guy Charles, and he's going to lose, and that's just something that happens in life. And we have to be washed and get old. yeah. Ilya by finish KO.
All right, yeah. I'll hop in the middle again because I think you're right, Dave. I hate to say it. Sorry, Left Hook Larry. Sorry to all the other huge Charles Oliveira fans, but yeah, man, I just don't see a way. I don't see a path to victory for Oliveira. He gets hit in his fights, man. He gets hit. He gets cracked almost every fight. In every fight. And like you said, Dave, like if that person isn't willing to give him that momentary pause down on the ground for him to gather himself because they're too scared to jump into his guard, he's in a bad way. He's in a real bad way. And anyone that knows Topuria will know he started this shit as a fucking grappler. And although we haven't got to see it, all the rage is that his grappling's even better than his fucking stand-up. And his stand-up has been more than enough to put away some of the biggest fucking names in the sport. So unfortunately for Charles Oliveira, I think he's all too hittable. I think that Ilya Topuria hits way too fucking hard. He's now going to have at least 10 more pounds of muscle. I mean, I think it's a pretty simple math problem, and I think that he's probably going to get knocked out, and it's probably going to be a bad one. Like, I think he's probably going to get, he's going to get comically knocked out. I don't know what round, but
I hate to interject, but you know what? Something that you said reminded me. Charles Oliveira. He's like my favorite fighter category is glass cannon. The guys that hit like a hammer, knock people out, but they can't take a shot themselves.
Yeah.
Oliveira, I love him, and he has the best BJJ in the business, but he also has some of the worst BJJ defense when he gets hurt. So Ilya sub is very possible. I mean, like I think Pettis subbed Oliveira. Someone else subbed him. Islam subbed him. Really, like he tapped before the sub was even locked in. Like
he tapped 12 times.
So that's entirely possible situation. I love him for it, but he's a BJJ glass cannon.
Yeah. Submission is definitely live. DangerMouse, that leaves just you to wrap us up on these predictions for UFC International Fight Week, UFC 317. It is the vacant lightweight title on the line. I believe this is the second or third time Charles has fought for a vacant title. I don't think he's never fought for a title with a sitting champion across from him. So crazy circumstances for Oliveira there. But yeah, going up against a smasher in Ilya Topuria, undefeated. Who gets it done?
How dare you? How dare you go against Charlie Olives Oliveira, the man with the most finishes, the most bonuses in the entire UFC, the man who is going to lose this fight against Ilya Topuria. Ilya Topuria is going to beat him whatever he wants to. I can see a knockout for Ilya. I can see him knocking Charles down and getting a submission, as you just mentioned. Islam got the submission fairly early against him. Dave called him a BJJ glass cannon, which is a new phrase for me, but I fucking love that. That was a great one, Dave. I haven't heard Ilya say how he's going to get this one done yet. So if he says it's going to be by knockout, it'll probably be by knockout. And if he says it's going to be by submission, it'll probably be by submission because Ilya Topuria, as much as you might hate it, has the ability apparently to achieve, believe, and conceive, believe, achieve whatever the fuck he wants to. Alcohol is kicking in by now. Ilya Topuria, however the fuck he wants to, early in the fight. It won't be a long fight. It's not going 5 rounds. Not a chance.
It is interesting. This is the first fight, I believe, that Ilya's got rid of his coaches, but I think he's good enough
Yeah.
that doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was something about his business stuff that he had to do in Madrid or wherever the hell it is he lives now. And so he just had to. It's not like he's fallen out with his coaches. They've just gone, yeah, I have to be here. You have to be there. We can't be together. That's how it is. Maybe they'll make it up sometime in the future. And it's not like Ilya doesn't have a fantastic gym in his house anyway. God knows how many millions he spent on that, but he's got all the kit you would ever need. And all he needs is opponents, trained opponents, whatever. So yeah, I don't have any worries for Ilya in this one. And I think it was you, Lazy, that posted that he might be only having 3 more fights in the future. And I could,
that was going to be.
Yeah, I could 100% see him beating Charles, defending the belt once or twice, and then buggering off.
Yeah, that was going to be my final closing point on this is just that we've been hearing birdies chirping on the Lazy line, and Lazy line's been rumbling, and from what I'm understanding is we could very well be seeing as little as 3 more fights from Ilia Topuria, and that includes this Charles Oliveira fight. So this one at IFW, and then maybe a 1 or 2 title defenses, and he's not long for this sport. And I think that's a couple of reasons. I think that one, he's smart, and he's gonna get out while A, he's on top, and B, his body's in good shape, and also 2, he is already well set. The guy's got fucking money. He's got more money than he knows what to do with. So like, he's only in this sport for legacy and for adulation. So why the fuck would you stick around?
I believe a lot of the money came from his wife. But he's certainly not short of a few bob, as they say around these parts. And I mentioned it. Well, I put a gif up in the Discord. This is legacy for Ilia Topuria. That's what he's looking forward to doing. He's trying to do what Conor McGregor did, but he's trying to do it even better because he's going to do. He's defended. He won 1 belt, defended it. He's moved up. He's going to win this belt. He's going to defend it, and then maybe that's what he wants to do. Is after that, maybe he's move up, beat Islam Makhachev at welterweight, and then retire, because he's not going to bother defending a welterweight belt if he moves up. That's far too risky. But if he can get that shot against Islam and maybe beat him, maybe that's enough. So yeah, legacy for Ilia Topuria. That's what he's after. Don't expect any more. He's not going to be here when he's 38 years old, getting knocked out like Tony Ferguson. Forget it.
Absolutely not. The guy's way too smart, way too calculated in the way he moves in MMA. Like he's not going to be sticking around.
He has a plan.
Longer. Yeah, he's got a very clear plan. I think that, like I said on the Discord as well, like I hate to fucking say it because he fucking knocked out my favorite fighter, Max Holloway, and fucking cracked his chin and became the first man to do it. But this is one of the best fights of all time coming in. Mouse, tell the bleeders how you feel about this fight and give us your winner.
Topuria super cocky, just as he was with Alex Volkanovski. So I'm actually going to, like I said, I think I'll be alone again on this one, but I'm going to take Topuria for this one. And dare I say that he gets it done by TKO? Can Max's chin be broken? It's pretty much the toughest chin in the game, but every boulder has to crack eventually. I'm going to go Topuria by TKO. Under 2.5 minutes. Sorry, under 2.5 rounds.
I really feel like he's got the possibility to beat Charles and then defend the title a time or two and walk away from the game completely undefeated and with probably the most remarkable record, that we've maybe ever seen. Because you can always argue Khabib because of the sheer number of wins, but you can dispute some of those. If he does what he says he's going to do, when it's all said and done, and you look at those names, those final names rounding out his career, it's going to be undeniable that this guy,
it's going to be up there. I think the number of fights he's had is going to differentiate him being classed as the true GOAT, unless he gets 3 belts, of course. That would pretty much establish him.
You're all going to cry when Paddy beats him.
I won't cry. I'll be fucking deliriously happy. Another English champion at 3 for me. Fantastic.
Yeah, Paddy's grown on me. I wouldn't mind that.
Fantastic.
I would like to shout out real quick the commission that took Charlie Olive's belt for 0.2 pounds, so he had to fight for a vacant belt because they stripped him of his great job commission.
Yeah. I had something else to say there, and I've completely forgotten what it was.
Was that gunshots going off in your background earlier?
So what?
I think it was fireworks. I hope it was fireworks.
I heard like gunshots.
All right, yeah,
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah, I'm chalking it up to fireworks. I hope. All right, well, yeah, that's gonna just about wrap up our coverage here for this impromptu UFC 317 preview show. As I said, these picks are, of course, not legally binding. Just something to do, just some content to get out to you guys. I'm currently sweating my fucking balls off in this fucking garage. It's got to be 115 degrees in here, so we're gonna wrap up this Sunday night scuffle. This has been an hour's worth of content, so hopefully you all enjoy it. DangerMouse, hopefully you enjoy editing it. Dave, thanks for sitting in and filling in. Austin, hopefully you're having an awesome time moving into your sweet new house. And shout out to that cool little dog that pops up in your backyard. Maybe we can put a picture of him in here. Boop, right there. But yeah, until next time, when we catch you guys, what I believe will be on the weekend roundup. Yeah, that'll follow this. I'm LazyBed. That's DangerMouse. Over there, that's Dave. This is the Sunday Night Scuffle, and we're getting the fuck out of here. Bye, motherfuckers.
See ya.
I've just got to say that dog is like the Predator. It's unspottable in the photo. Yeah.
Just got to say, I'm glad LazyBed's in good shape, sweating like a piggy.
Yeah.
Can you give us an oink?
His balls are hot.
That's not for MMA Guru either.
Peaky.
Talking about those weird ass commercials on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, like they did an update where they got rid of picture-in-picture, and then the update where they added those commercials things now.
Yeah,
and then last
countdown.
night there was an update where streaming, I can't screen share with Chrome anymore.
Ridiculous. Yeah, that countdown timer on the commercials is new, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they're even longer now.
Yeah. There was one of those like 3 minutes the other day. I'm like, oh, fuck you.
Like, isn't that supposed to be like what you get when you're fucking watching like free streaming, like the Roku app or something like that? That shouldn't be. I'm paying for this shit. Why am I getting 4-minute ads?
Yeah.